aerial assassin signs with the devil. This is how his first story in about 8 months will go if I control. Let's get this out of the way. Ospreay is going to be one of the highest paid wrestlers in WWE because, well, let's be honest, won't go there, I don't think. I've seen some reports from Backwell grabbing images that said signing with WWE isn't something he doesn't want to do. So the only way I can reasonably see this happening initially is money. This is fantasy, so it doesn't matter. He's with WWE. Shook hands with the devil. But yeah, so if you guys have any ideas for me to fantasy book, then tell me down in the comments down below. I will go through the comments when this video is live and probably afterwards as well. This is going to be about once a month. We are going to do a fantasy booking. This is something I'm somewhat interested in and could probably do well with on YouTube. If you guys did miss the chat room or the first episode of Brown Warfare, those went up the last 2 weeks. So go give those a watch. The chat room was a lot of fun to kind of record and just talk. Jace 4 and Brown Warfare was recorded about a year ago. And it's just a draft where we took over WWE. So if you want more fantasy booking, then Brown Warfare's for you, because that is us just fantasy booking out of wazoo. So yeah, so we're going to start this. It is 2022. It's the very beginning. So we start at day 1 where the main event sees Big E defeat Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, and Bobby Lashley to retain his WWE Championship. But that's not how the show ends. No. You probably would expect this because it's an Ospreay fantasy booking video. Ospreay debuts, but you don't know it's Ospreay. So, Big E. Big E is in the ring, kind of celebrating with his music playing in the background. Yet the music will stop, and Big E is kind of interested in what's happening. He isn't sure about what's happening. Why is his music stopped? Why is the fans starting to murmur down? What's happening? Is the show isn't ended yet? We still got another 30 seconds of the show. We've got another minute of the show. What's happening here? Lights go out. Now, during these lights, Ospreay will run down from the crowd and attack Big E, but that is not seen by anyone, hopefully, depending on how dark the lights are. Fans there might see it, I don't know, I haven't gone to a wrestling show where they put the lights out and see if I can see stuff. But when the lights do go back on the pay-per-view video overlay, Ospreay is there standing over the out-cold body of Big E. But one major thing is that Ospreay has a hood over his head, so the camera angle doesn't actually pick up his face. This is kind of important because the actual WWE audience, to my knowledge, isn't the most of hardcore wrestling fans. So a lot of them probably haven't seen New Japan. And I think having this as a masked figure, like an unknown figure, could create a lot of intrigue. Now, of course, the hardcore fans that watch the news and stuff will probably know that Ospreay has been signed by WWE, and it's probably him. But other people might go, oh, who's been injured? Who haven't we seen for a while? It might be them. And it's kind of getting that intrigue. We head on to Raw, and the commentary puts this over as a rogue fan attack on Big E. Now, this is kind of important because having Ospreay debut as a rogue fan, I think, is a decent way to kind of introduce him to the audience, and it gives reason for the rest of the story. Because you need to have reasoning for the story to happen, and I guess an attack is reason enough, but for where I'm going, I think there's a lot more of a fun kind of build for it, and then unique and interesting one. You don't really see a rogue fan, really. I think one I know is like Steve Blackman, WWF was a fan, quote unquote fan. I don't think you've kind of seen that recent times, especially in WWE. I don't think they've done. I think it's been a while. But I think it's a unique way to kind of debut Ospreay. But so the commentary team will hype Big E coming out to talk about the incident later in the show. This is because it's Raw. It's Raw is 3 hours. I'm not going through the entire Raw show. Sorry if you wanted that. That is on Brown Warfare. So go watch Brown Warfare where I am Raw. So I have to put down 2 hours. I said. But so this is probably the beginning of the second hour. It's hyped throughout the first 2 hours and try and keep the fans engaged and see Big E. Big E comes out and he kind of doesn't talk about the rogue fan at first. He talks about day 1, his championship victory, his challenges they defeated, hypes them all up. And the biggest thing that happens is actually there's this murmur in the crowd of Ospreay, Ospreay, Ospreay. This is the first mention of his name. Fans didn't chant Ospreay at at day one, and I understand this is probably maybe 100 out of 2,000 fans there because, look, not many will probably know, but it's fantasy, so it's happening. So Biggie then kind of stops talking. He stops this monologue he's going into, and he takes a deep breath. Then kind of begins to talk about the situation at hand. I have written this down, so if I'm looking down, there is a script I'm following, and it writes some of the promos in this, just because I felt if I can write it, it's a good way of kind of improving ability to promos, and could help in brand warfare. I got attacked after the match by a so-called rogue fan. Now I am the champion, and everyone is welcome to take me on. So next week, Ospreay, face me in the ring. Definitely not Big E's voice. I just didn't want to do mine for that promo. You got more coming on now. We'll just do my voice for. So Big E then drops the mic and heads to the back. This is kind of the first mention of a WWE personality saying Ospreay, and that's kind of the intention. Like, I want the initial first show kind of having... They don't want to mention this. It's like, it's annoying for the company. It's like, your security couldn't stop this. How would the fan have access to the lights? Like, there's so many problems in it. And having Big E be the first person going like, I want you, this is your name, kind of builds intrigue and kind of excitement now. And everyone knows it's Ospreay. This then leads to the commentary team talking about Ospreay and using his name now instead of saying a rogue fan or fan. But they have no idea what's happening because, like I said, a fan being in a WWE is so uncommon that the commentary team won't know what's going to happen next week. And that creates intrigue for the next Raw. Like, this entire kind of thing is trying to create intrigue to build to an eventual match between the two. And because Raw's 3 hours, you gotta create intrigue for every week for this story. It's kind of hard when I got these small things. Like, I could do more for each Raw episode, but I feel like a max of half an hour for most feuds on a TV show is probably fine. You don't really want to have it for a full hour, because then you're kind of saturating that with so much that you could spread across like 3 shows. But hey, we then head into the next Raw show. This opens this time with Big E coming out. As much as like this could be in the main event, I think having Ospreay come in, you kind of don't want it as a main event feud. You kind of want to save that for maybe a RK Bro Mysterios or RK. I think RK Bro should be probably in the main event during this time because Orton's a big name, getting real that main event, and then Spotlight and Tag Team division as this is happening. I think it's a really good thing. Like after this is done, you can move the WWE title back into the main event of Raw just for this kind of 4 weeks. Keep at the mid-card opener level. It opens with Big E coming out and heading down to the ring, and he's in his ring gear. He is ready for a fight against Ospreay. But out comes Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville because WWE has no authority figures, ladies and gentlemen. They have none. That is why these two can make matches. Doesn't really make sense, does it? No authority figures, but 2 people that act like authority figures. Maybe I should get rid of them. But hey, look, I like having a GM, and I'm instead of kind of creating one in this booking, one's out of that. The 2 of them come out, and it's mostly Pierce talking because I kind of want to drive Pierce as this world title GM, and Deville can take more of a women's division role because of her like relationship and the rivalry with Naomi. It's more important that splintered them off of having them as a package, like a package with authority figures I don't really like. Have them split off. So they're not wanting Big E to fight a fan, which is kind of fair. Like, can you imagine having your company have one of your employees fighting with a fan? Like, it's not going to be the greatest of image on you. If that's happening, it's just not going to be a good image for you. So they don't want that to happen. So it's kind of already started to happen. And Big E then grabs a mic, and he kind of goes through another very short promo. Like, these are short promos because I won't be writing out 5-minute promos because we don't need those. Really, you need kind of bare bones, and the character, the person can add more to the promo. Like, you give them the basis for it, and they can add more to it. So Big E says, "Give me the man. Give the man a goddamn contract and a match with me at Royal Rumble." Pierce and Sonya look at one another, and before anything else happens, Pierce kind of says to Big E, sorry, I'm using my voice because I fuck Pierce. Sorry, mate. Big E, if you want to face this fan, then we will not condone this. So this is kind of pushing it towards an unsanctioned match, which I think would be a really fun, not even debut. This is a fan, the only shot at like stardom is in this match, and it's not going to count for anything. They're going to be then the record's swiped. Like, that's going to build some stuff for the next few weeks. And then kind of similar to what's happened on day one and stuff, E is annoyed, or somewhat different. He's annoyed, he's moving around the ring, showing some good style mannerisms, and kind of moving around agitated. Like, he's annoyed at this, because he wants this match, he really wants this. And he suddenly gets attacked by a hooded figure. So this is basically what happened at day one. Ospreay, but without lights. Ospreay attacks Big E and lays him out. He grabs the microphone that Big E is now dropped due to attack in the ring. Picks it up. Simply says, I accept. Taking off the hood. Feeling the face of Will Ospreay. You guys can see down below. I think this is a good way, because now you build up this kind of mystique of Ospreay and then showing the face. Gives and face to the name, I think it's a good idea. Not doing it too early to kind of focus on Ospreay himself, kind of focus on the character than the person. This leads to later in the night, Big E coming up to Pierce, wanting it. Pierce to do the contract now, and Big E has like an ice pack on his neck following the attack. He kind of stands up to Pierce, like he is very close, like there's barely any room between them. And Pierce kind of going like, you know what, the wrestler can push me around, it ain't gonna stop here. Big E, I'll offer him a contract, chill out, I'll offer him a contract. And like, I'm gonna say this now, because I realize this as I'm talking, as I'm recording this. You can tell that Big E's more of a heel in this, but I also, the reason for this is I want them both to kind of be tweeners, to build to them kind of setting what if they're face or heel after the match. And I think a good way of having that is Big E's annoyed that this guy's got the upper hand on him. He's supposed to be the WWE champion, he can't protect himself outside the match. And it's kind of something that I think is important, something that you need to show characters aren't just this one-dimensional babyface. You gotta add in some heel mannerisms, some face characteristics. You gotta balance it. That's what we're doing. We then head to the next week of Raw, where Pierce offers a contract to Ospreay. Now, this is going to be hyped initially, and then I'm going to have it in the middle of the show. You could pull out with the main event. I would say the main event for a match. I think ending a 3-hour show on like a 20-minute match is a better idea. Just be like in the middle of the show with the table and everything. Pierce kind of offers this contract to Ospreay, which is a one-match deal, one unsanctioned match deal, and Ospreay says no. And the reason they give is that he isn't going to fight if it's going to be wiped off the records when he beats Big E. He wants to beat Big E and take the gold from him to showcase that he is the future of professional wrestling. This brings out Big E. Now, the reason to kind of get this into a championship match is because you debut and then you fight for the world title. It kind of puts you at a good level initially, and then you're able to kind of move around. Especially if it's your first match and your ability's first match. You can always use the excuse that it was my first match. I've now had 3 more months of matches. I want a title shot, and it kind of allows you to kind of bring back to it. So Big E comes out. He's on the stage, and security run out. And just be clear. Security is somewhat bigger than Big E because I want, like, not in terms of like muscle mass, like they don't look stronger and stuff. Some do, some are taller. Like, they're meant to be there so that when Big E eventually goes through them, it's a good thing to show strength. So Big E is standing on the stage with a microphone. He's like, I'm okay with this, sign the damn contract, and Pierce is there going, no, we're not doing this, you're not fighting for the WWE title. And then Ospreay starts poking fun at Big E. Now, I haven't read any jokes for this because, in all honesty, I would probably give this thing to Ospreay and Big E to kind of decide what they think would work, because I think as performers, they would know a better thing of, okay, if you did this, this is really central to my character, and we can build upon that. And I think maybe some stuff with New Day at the beginning, which Big E can laugh off quite easily, and then getting Ospreay can go into the more serious parts of his character, which will tick Big E off, and Big E will just run through the security. This is why I want the security to be kind of like big and muscular, because showing Big E can run through like 7 or 8 non-trained wrestlers that are security is going to push him at such a high level when you compare Ospreay as a fan. Like, you're trying to make Ospreay the ultimate underdog as well, also kind of having his character build up. And Big E managed to get into the ring, and then Pierce stands up against him. He's trying to like calm Big E down. He doesn't want this fight. Like, Pierce has been against this from the start. He doesn't want his champion fighting a fan. And during this, like, Pierce trying to calm down this angry Big E that you don't really see often. Like, Big E's this fun-loving babyface. Seeing this angry Big E's like something different, something unique for him. And Ospreay utilizes this as the heel he's kind of portraying now more by attacking Big E with a super kick. Now, I'm saying super kick because I think it's a one that you could probably do and have Big E not like get knocked down. Like, he can go down on one knee, and then Ospreay will get out of the ring. Like, this isn't Ospreay laying out Big E. This is Ospreay kind of trying to tick him off, like getting that edge. Like, if you look deeply at what Ospreay's been doing, he's getting under the skin of Big E, which is not a fan kind of thing. It's more of a professional. Like, he's been in the ring before. He's kind of the feeling that the eagle-eyed viewers will be getting. It's like, he's like really ticking him off. Is this like a plan? Is this a ploy? And like, he's winning these mind games now. And you're balancing this like mind games against strength now. And it's such an interesting concept, and it's going to build to like a really good match. And then we head on to the Go Home show. So this has been basically authorized now. And I think for the Go Home show, it's kind of weird. We've had like an attack every week. I'll be honest, it's probably the weakest part of this fantasy booking, because I could easily just probably have Ospreay have a match or maybe another brawl. But I don't want to do that. I want them to cut promos on each other, because I think at this stage, having them separate and having them like angry at each other and stuff like that, I think better piece of it. Now, we'll start with Ospreay's promo early on in the night, because I think Ospreay's promo first and then Big E's to answer is a good kind of good balancing and kind of easily a build face heel. I want Ospreay to kind of put himself over as the future as he has done previously, and kind of treating Big E as a stepping stone. Like, he can put over Big E as this like good wrestler, this good fighter, but ultimately a bad champion. And I think Ospreay kind of pushing Big E as this bad champion will be a good way of getting under the skin and kind of giving Big E a reason to put in all the effort, because he doesn't want to be a bad champ. He doesn't want to lose it to Ospreay in this first match. And then that's going to be like Ospreay's overall promo kind of saying he's the future and he will win the WWE title in his first match. Like, I don't know if many people have won the WWE Championship in the first ever WWE match. Like, this is such a big thing, and it could be a big, like, history-making night. But then Big E's promo late night, I want him to kind of open up about his championship reign and kind of pushing him as, I've been this secondary guy, I've been this tag team guy, I'm the champion, I'm the world champion, I'm the WWE champion, I am the face of this company. It is time for me to prove that to you and to everyone watching at home. But Ospreay, I know your secret, and this is the big thing, because at this moment, most of the crowd think that Ospreay hasn't wrestled before. This is when B kind of plays a card down, like a trap card, plays down a card and goes, I know what you've done, Ospreay. I know what you've done in Japan. I know you are a wrestler. I know you are a good wrestler. But you are not at the level of a WWE superstar. And on Sunday, I will prove that to you. And this is kind of a bit more like a heelish, but it's also Big E going, you've lied, you're not a fan. WWE has lied to the audience. I know you're a professional wrestler. I've looked into you. I'm taking this seriously. That's the idea. Like, this is a serious Big E. And like that's the kind of idea for it. He's a serious character of himself. I think that's such an interesting Big E concept. We then head into Royal Rumble, and I'm having it open the show because everyone's there for the Royal Rumble match, and I'll be honest, I think having this open will mean it can be better and not have that stigma of, oh, it's following the Rumble, it's before the Rumble. Now, this is probably about 15 minutes, steal the show kind of thing, like you'll see in TW. I think I want Big E to kind of start off as the face, and then have them swap maybe halfway through, and then have them swap back at the end. Because you've shown both sides, and I want them to kind of show both. And I think what I want it to be is like a strength versus speed concept of it. Like Ospreay's dodging and weaving, but Big E's like catching him off the high flying moves and slamming him down. In the end, Ospreay loses because I wouldn't have Ospreay win this first match. I think gotta push Big E. Like give Big E this win. Like it's not a massive win, I'll admit. It's like being the Ospreay is a big win. The wrestling world, but in the WWE world, it's not that biggest. It pushes Ospreay up. That was the idea of this. Big E, after the match, puts his hand out to Ospreay. Ospreay shakes it. Therefore, both ending this kind of rivalry as faces. But there's still that kind of bit of respect there, and the thought that maybe they could come back to it. That's the idea. Like, for this like first feud, push him in this world title. Like, if you do this with other people, like I might do this when I sign people in Brand Warfare. The thing is, you gotta leave enough in it that you could go back to it. You gotta push them into this world title thing, and then go, okay, cool. Now let's go into a bigger program for the champion. Let's start pushing them lower down. And that's what we're doing. So now we're building to Mania, and what Ospreay is doing at this time is he's beating Cruz, he's beating Balor, he's beating Cedric, he's beating Benjamin. He's beating this mid-card level of talent. Like, he's improving every match. He's starting to kind of showcase. He's getting used to the WWE style of the WWE ring. And at WrestleMania, he faces Damian Priest for the US title. I think it's WrestleMania 39. I don't care. I'll be honest with you. WrestleMania 2021. That makes sense. And he faces Priest for the US title, in which he wins. And Priest is the heel in the situation, and Ospreay is the face. Like, Priest is kind of moving into that. He's got this split personality, I believe, with like Damian and Priest, and I think having him lose here is fine. Push him up with Big E, have Big E Priest for the world title with Priest as a heel. I think could be a good feud for a month or two. Then you have Ospreay kind of reign as US champion for about 6 months. Well, up until I would say you could have him up till Rumble, really, and then like however long you want, but I want him to lose the title and then face Big E for the WWE title at WrestleMania 40 or WrestleMania 2022. 2023, I said, oh god, the years are coming together. Haven't faced the next WrestleMania. You guys are going to pick up on me saying WrestleMania 2021 earlier, aren't you? Yeah, so he then picks up the win of a Big E at WrestleMania, and that kind of builds to a final match between possibly at SummerSlam, and you can have Ospreay win that way. You can have Big E win if you want. I think this is the way I would book Ospreay's first bit of time in WWE. If you guys think you could do a better job, tell me how you would do in the comments. Like, how would you book Ospreay in WWE? Like, you don't have to be super in depth. You go, I'll have Ospreay beat Big E. Or, like, if you want to be in depth, then be in depth. Tell me down below. Also, tell me down below what else you want to see me fancy book here. I'm happy to. I have some other ideas, but if you guys have ideas you want me to do in the comments, like if they're either ideas I've already got or the new ideas, I might do those earlier because you're wanting those to see by putting them in comments. Like things you put in the comments, I'm like, okay, cool, that's what you want. Now I can go into that. Yeah. If you enjoy this, hit the like button, subscribe, and thanks. Look out.